Hello, family, and welcome to another episode of Role Model Experts Cafe. I'm your host, Dr. L, the Parent Whisperer, and today with me I have an amazing lady. Her name is Eva Raposa. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Awesome, very cool. So thank you, Eva, for taking time out of your busy day to be here with us today, and thank you, audience, for tuning in and watching our episodes. Eva, I want to make sure that the audience knows where you've been and where you come from and why you're passionate about doing what you do. I have had the opportunity to talk to you before, and I think you're amazing. And I wanted to make sure that our audience gets to hear your message and take action on it. So without further ado, tell us a little bit about yourself and we get going from there.
All right. All right. Again, my name's Eva Raposa, and I serve parents who want to live their highest potential, but they struggle with family dynamics, limiting beliefs, and finding support to reach their goal. So I have many offers to cover a wide variety of parenting needs, but my story on how I came to do what I do began in my early childhood. That's where my home on a dead-end dirt road in the foothills of Pikes Peak gave me a very unique perspective. It's one that few people experience, but it's a perspective that can benefit many. So for the first 7 years of my life, I lived with nature as my primary companion. As the oldest of 3 girls, I had a very simple life with minimal instruction from adults, and it provided me with a peaceful, trusting, and loving perspective on life. The tremendous love was needed to carry me through the darkest days that were ahead of me. At just after second grade, our family moved out to the East Coast, where we lived in Maryland, just on the northeast corner of DC, Washington,
Wow, you're
DC.
talking about all the favorite parts of the country. I love Pikes Peak. I
Is
know
that
the
right? Oh
Grace
my
over
God.
there. I lived in Maryland, so wow. Awesome.
Very nice, very nice.
All
Yeah.
right.
And so moving to DC from a dead-end dirt road in Colorado was a huge culture shock to me. I was excited to meet people and see the world when I left, but then when I got there, people really weren't very happy or necessarily positive. At least the kids in my neighborhood, they were all focused on fighting and cussing and everything. And I was just like, what in the world? So, so I ended up, trying to put a shield up around my loving, center. But at the same time, I had to kind of embrace my environment, which wasn't fully embracing love on a general basis. So when I went through my teenage years and my young adult years, I really had a tough time. I ended up going into addictions, promiscuity, and then depression. And this was all extremely tough on me. I I really thought about taking my life at times, and I nearly died with an ectopic pregnancy that was completely unexpected. And at that point, I was just like, okay, I need to do something completely different. And I left it all behind and I went out to Virginia, became a nanny for a sweet family out there. And I was able to get away from all the negative pressure to just make poor choices. And it really cleared my mind out a lot, but I still had, addictive, tendencies, and I had not really gotten through it all yet. So
because for many people, they talk about resilience and things like that, but at the same time, despite how what you're describing about your upbringing and the being connected to nature and those things, when you were put in an environment that was very different than that, obviously I can see that there was some disconnect with how you can connect to people and everything, which probably had something to do with you going into the life that ultimately made you move to Virginia, right? Okay,
yeah.
so that being the case, how did the life in Virginia help you out?
Yeah, it stopped the external pressure for me to continue those actions. It got me into, a place where I was focused on me and of course helping this small child. And it got me, I reduced the amount of basically marijuana that I was consuming, and reduced the amount of alcohol I was drinking. So it cleared my mind and got me back on track. I was not, hanging out with any boys at that time. So it was really just focused on me and what I need to do to help myself. And after spending about a year there with that family, I was like, okay, I can get back on track now. I'm going to go back to college and try to be a psychologist. That's what I was going for. And I ended up leaving them, which was bittersweet because I love the family and, would have liked to have stayed part of their life, but I felt like I had more to give to like more families, not just like one individual family. And so I was able to move on and pursue that.
Okay.
So following my time in college, I ended up going to North Carolina, which is where my parents had lived. I didn't have any job lined up or anything, so I just went and stayed with them and loved the area. I found the love of my life here. I got married. I had 2 children, but I was still dealing with addiction. And it was not until I found myself thoroughly like fed up with my children. They were going through bedwetting, little potty accidents, and it had been going on for, I'm pretty sure, years. And I was just like, this was well after they should have been potty trained. And I was just I had enough of it, and I was losing my patience with them. And one day I kind of almost went too far with it. And I was like, look, I got to like do something different. I let go of controlling them, and I opened up spiritually to personal growth. I was just like, okay, what do I need to do here? And I empowered them with, how to take care of their own potty accidents. Like, I'm not going to continue doing this anymore because this is like making me crazy. And I gave them the skills they needed to clean up after themselves and let them deal with that on their own. And that actually encouraged them to stop, because now instead of me just cleaning up after them and there was no consequence for them, they were like, oh, I don't want to keep doing this. And then they stopped. So it made, it just sort of gave me that freedom to move on from, just a parenting activity that was just like driving me nuts. So when I made that choice to let go and to start pursuing like more of a spiritual path or a personal growth kind of a thing, I was guided. I think it was like my spirit guides brought this person into my life. She was a stranger at a festival, and she told me the story of her life. She said that she had a very difficult experience with her mom. Her mom was so mean to her that she thought she would never be able to trust women again, never be able to approach them or talk to them. And she met these mysterious mentors online, and she said she learned how to release the emotions that she was holding in about her mom. And over like years of crying it out, she let it go. And now here she was talking to me, a perfect stranger, about her whole life. And I was like, wow, this sounds like it really worked. And I got really curious about these mentors. So I went online to listen to their message. And I became so fascinated with it that I'd spent hours watching and listening to them. They were very clear. They had no like stumbling blocks. It was just all coming out smooth. And I was like, okay, I totally trust these guys, and I'm motivated by them. And they got me to cut out the addictions permanently. And almost instantly too. It's like I walked away from drinks that I left downstairs for like years. They just sat there and I never went back to them. It was amazing how effective the technique was, and it inspired me so much. So that's when I made the switch from being a really struggling mom, just up, fed up to, her eyeballs with children doing things that didn't make sense, to being able to follow my passion and purpose. I've always had a passion for children. I've done nanny work and daycare work. I became a lead teacher in daycare, and I wanted to help children. And while I was there, I basically came to understand that no matter what I'm doing with them during the few hours they're with me, it's not really making a long-term impact on their life. And that if I really wanted that to happen, I would need to work with their parents. So with that realization, I was like, okay, so how can I work with their parents? You know, what can I do to help parents out so that children can have a better life? And my guides actually sent me to Integrative Wellness Academy, which is a life coaching certification program. And I became certified as a life coach. I knew I wanted to coach parents, and I took their business mastery course so that I could understand how to run a business. And then I started getting like all sorts of wrapped up in what do you call them, like courses, like further education kind of stuff, because I wanted more. I was just like, I became an instructor of 24 posture therapeutic Qigong, which is something that can help heal physical ailments. Something my sister experienced personally, which was like, when that opportunity came up, I was like, yes, I want this in my toolkit. And I got a professional diploma in nutrition. I became a Ho'oponopono practitioner, which is basically like a forgiveness technique that you can do with people. It helps heal them even when they're not doing anything. And then I've tried several MML things that I didn't get much success out of them, and I didn't get satisfaction out of them. But there was one that I signed up with, which was Juice Plus, which I loved. I loved the products. There was no pressure from the company to, make more sales or anything like that. So I stuck with them, and I continue taking personal growth courses and connecting with with professionals who provide resources for parents. And so now I have a wealth of content that is great for my ideal audience, parents who I feel are the most influential people on earth. And I also am launching my new app, the Parenting Potential app, with all the valuable content that I have, and much of it's going to be free, and it's going to be at the fingertips of parents everywhere. So super exciting.
It's really inspiring to see people who are dedicated to their progress, their development, and their evolution as a human being while they're on this planet. So I really appreciate you for showing up like that. Now, I do have a question, because you keep going back to children, wanting to impact children's lives. What do you think is the reason? Why do you think that you have that passion for that?
Well, all right. So I was born under the Generation X category, and generally speaking, we were raised without much parenting. There was a lot of latchkey kids. There was not great connection between us and our parents. And while we learned to be very independent because of that, we also didn't really connect well with everyone. Like, it's hard. It was very hard for me to open up to help from others. And I realized this while I started my business, because you have to work together with people to make things happen. And before I was able to reach out to others, my business was just stagnant. It was just not moving. And I was like, not until I opened up did I start seeing progress. And everybody has some kind of childhood issue. And it's usually from their primary caregiver. This is another lesson I learned from my mysterious mentors, that we all have basically mom issues, where, because usually moms are the ones that have been with us for most of our life. More the one person that has been there the most often. And nobody's perfect, I mean, it's like natural that, mom's not going to do the best job ever, because she's not a perfect person. She wasn't raised by a perfect person. So I feel like it's super important that we step it up as parents and actually make sure that we are finding effective techniques that work, that don't create further damage,
Mhm.
or just repeat the same things that our parents did, that their parents did, and say, oh, we're fine, everything's okay. It's just time to step it up, and make it a more loving experience overall, because every person has to live with what they learned in their childhood. And some people are able to get over it, like the woman, the stranger at the festival. She was able to get over it, but it took her years of crying it out to get over what her mom did to her. And it's possible to get over this stuff, and I just want to encourage people to do that, to take those steps, and not repeat these things forever. It's got to end. Yeah.
Awesome. So in working with the parents and in your experience, what do you typically see as a common challenge or something that is oftentimes the cause of people coming to you in the first place?
Okay, so yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in various topics. When, like, for example, when um when people come to me for their coaching, for like personal coaching, they are often struggling with job dissatisfaction, maybe inadequate social life. So many moms just don't
Mhm.
have a social life. The family dynamics that just never seem to improve. And a lot of times they're doing a bit of soul searching, just like what else is out there.
Wow.
Often they
Just
live.
mentioned, I think all of that, you mentioned connecting and the kids being connected. And I feel like what you just mentioned, whether it's job dissatisfaction, being able to connect to a meaningful purpose, or social connections and being able to have a social life, right? Or personal connection, being able to connect with what it is inside of you that makes you who you are. All of that, I think you're hovering around connections and connectivity and
Yes,
really
thank
resonate.
you. Yeah, absolutely. And it's just hysterical to me, because growing up, my parents are both cancers, and they're like also hermits. They don't connect with people. They don't have their own little friend group, and it's just like I could have been a hermit. I could have been a very different person. And it took a lot to get me to come out of my shell, to
Mhm.
open up. I mean, it took friends pushing me into things like joining the Palms and doing dances in front of the whole school, and then now I've been working at Trader Joe's, which is a very public place. I mean, I see hundreds of people almost every hour, and talk to them and connect with them. And it's just like, to have imagined this life for me, a dead end dirt road girl. Like, it's really something to see how far I've come. And that's why the message I have to make these connections
Awesome.
is so meaningful to me.
And like you said, connecting is a skill. It's something that, if you're growing up and you're not exposed to it, or you're not seeing how other people do it,
Mhm.
it leaves you disconnected, and it can cause issues later on because no person is an island. And as a result, when you actually need that support, you don't know how to get it. Oftentimes today, we hear about the issues that are going on at our school systems with the children, and the struggles that the kids are having, whether it's mood disorders, whether it is feeling disconnected and they don't have proper support, and nobody hears them, nobody sees them, and they don't know how to reach out neither. And it kind of creates all kinds of issues that could at times be very tragic as well.
Yeah.
So definitely a very important topic. Now, um, if people want to connect, obviously that skill that you haven't done it can be a challenge as well, that you need to find out how to gain these skills, you need to figure out. So what are some of the tips and secrets that you have when you're working with parents that enables them to, in this particular case, connect, but I don't want to kind of direct this. So tell us about how people benefit, like some of the tips and tricks that you have that you can
Okay.
share.
So Any parent interested in diving into personal growth with like a full commitment is going to benefit from having a good coach, somebody that will provide insight, accountability, and support. They also need to consider how much they're willing to invest in the process. With my services, for example, I've got a few options where you can decide if you want to work on your own, or if like you have a parenting partner that you want to work with them, and so the two of you can grow together. You can choose which way you want to go with that. And then with the private coaching, over a 6-month period, sorry, is going to be a pretty sizable investment, but you're going to get one-on-one, like focused attention from me, where I'm going to just give you everything that you need to heal all the little things that have been stumbling blocks, all the limiting beliefs, all the stories you've been telling yourself since your parents told you that when you were a kid. We have to get through a lot of different little things, but I break it down very easy into one little step at a time, so it's very easy and consumable. And then before you know it, like, you've gotten so far beyond where you are now, and it's just the small chunks make the biggest difference. And then focusing on mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual aspects, if you leave any one of those out, whatever you're working on could slip into another area and cause you problems there. But if you focus on all four of them, like, you're gonna get a whole complete care package that's going to leave you with like lasting results. I mean, I want permanent fixes for whoever's working with me.
We want to make sure that we have a holistic approach. So tip number one, we want to make sure that we have a holistic approach to improving the outcome, the circumstances, and our life, basically, instead of the patchwork. So, okay, that's awesome. What would be an actionable thing that our audience members today could walk away with right after this and take action on it?
All right. Well, if you feel like you are one of those people that are kind of like, yes, I'm there, I'm ready to, go 100% in, because I'm at my limit and I want to just move on, either past all the struggles that you're dealing with, or, just into your passion and purpose, because maybe you're tired of living with, you're living for everyone else, and you're like, okay, I really kind of need to focus on me. If you're at that point, the best thing to do is to connect with me on a discovery call. And if we're a good match, I can add you to a coaching service. I've got either the what I mentioned before, the private ones, but I also can offer group coaching, which is a more affordable route. You just got to do a little bit more on your own.
So Eva, when they come to your session with the discovery, what are some of the topics or things that that you guys discuss that they could actually prepare for?
All right. So one of the topics is how well are you eating? Like, how good is your nutrition level? Because nobody is going to be able to function their best without proper nutrition. And this is not just the children, but it's the parents too. So what I would recommend is taking an inventory of how you're eating. How much fruits and vegetables are you getting? I have a tool called the Balanced Plate, and on it, it shows 50% of your food should at least be, at least 50% should be fruits and vegetables. And then you're gonna have a protein for a quarter of it, and then a grain for a quarter of it. With this balanced plate, you're getting proper nutrition, proper protein, and the nutrients that you need to function your best. And if anybody is struggling with getting their children, their spouse, themselves to eat vegetables and fruits, there is, that is why I have my link for the Juice Plus program, because there are easy to consume, gummies, different kind of options that they have there to purchase, which if you were to buy that much nutrition at the store, you're going to spend more. And so it's a very good deal and very easy to consume. And I know my children have been loving the gummies for over a year. And if you're looking for a way to get, you know, the nutrition aspect of your family kind of back on track, I would suggest taking a look at the Juice Plus. If you like having plants in your home, but you don't have the space for it, or it's too much extra work, I would recommend looking at the Tower Garden, because the Tower Garden is the easiest way in the world to just grow your own stuff. And then the children are seeing it, eating it fresh off the plant, and they're learning.
For the children, yeah, like you said, that learning part, that to see where food really comes from and
See where it's coming from, how it grows, and like to taste it fresh off the plant is like a whole different experience than, you know, a lot of the food in our grocery store has been on a truck for days. It's been in plastic packaging, and it's just like, it's not as fresh as it could be. A lot of times they pick it before it's even ripe, just so that it can make the journey, and it's not the same.
How can people find out more about you, possibly have a discovery session and connect with you out there?
Okay. Yeah, so I actually have a book coming out soon, so you can be on the lookout for that. It is my memoir, so it's going to tell all the juicy details about my life. And that is going to be called A Journey into the Mystery. And so, yeah, definitely you'll be able to learn a lot more about me, my story, and that. And also it's going to have lessons or insights as well as journal prompts, so that you can kind of go along with this journey, in the journey with me, and actually experience some of the healing that I've been through for yourself. As for you know, doing a discovery call with me, that I've got a link for that. It's just a simple, maybe about 1 hour call where I will give you about 40 minutes of actual coaching with me. So you know what it's like to work with me, you'll get a feel for if we're a good match or not. And then I may or may not offer you a spot in my coaching, but it's just so that we can get a feel for each other. But definitely you will walk away with the benefit of a coaching session with me. And then additionally, I'm going to have my app launching soon. I can't wait. It's going to be Parenting Potential. When that comes out, it's going to be in the App Store or on, Google Play. So you'll be able to find that, connect with us, you know, join the team, and we'll all be able to grow together.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you for doing that, and the information that you've shared, and offering the consultation as well, the discovery session. So guys, I encourage you to reach out, connect, and find an expert such as Eva that is committed to not only personal development, but also helping you move along in your development, so that we can serve our children, our future, better, basically, and optimize our potentials. So please go ahead and take her up on it. I'm going to put all the links in the description box. So it's going to be right there. And by the way, if you guys haven't already done so, please make sure that you go ahead and click subscribe, so that you see all the experts that come on the show, and have access to their support and the resources they offer here. Eva, thank you for taking the time and sharing your expertise with us. Is there any parting words of wisdom before we end our session today?
Well, thank you, Dr. L, for having me on today. It's been great just being able to share my message with everyone. I appreciate everyone who listens, and who's interested actually reaching out. I just love to connect with people now, and so I hope to connect with you soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Cheers, guys.